from the beginning, everybody that's on this call right now has said that all these altcoins, shitcoins, whatever you want to call them, they're not equity. They're an affinity scam for people to claw away Bitcoin from people that don't understand that they're being scammed. And it's the way the scam works is they're saying it's better technology, that it's this or it's that. But at the end of the day, what it is it's a total scam. And you're finally having regulators catch up with a lot of those activities, and they're going after the implementers of the enablers of these affinity scams of many of these tokens. So is this something that should have been expected? Yes. Is this something that took a lot longer to play out than what I would have thought? Yes. I'm all about free and open markets, but I'm also all about, like, if you're gambling, there's a big difference between somebody sports gambling or showing up to a casino and knowing that their odds are 47% to play roulette versus somebody who thinks they're investing in technology and they're actually being scammed. There's a big difference between those two things. And the difference is in the knowledge that's up front and the way that it's being presented to people. And, I think this is long overdue that you're actually seeing something play out right now.
Lynn, do you have a follow-up for Preston?
So I would just echo that, and Corey touched on it earlier too. That these things will exist, but their ease of accessing the U.S. and some of these bigger markets, I think, is going to be obviously restricted. And there'll still be some jurisdictions that are happy to have them, and then they can operate and kind of put their tendrils out from there. But the ease of marketing to Americans, marketing, perhaps to Europeans over time, these things I think the windows are going to close on them. And that'll kind of, turn some of the capital fire hoses into garden hoses, and put some of that out. And I think that does give Bitcoin companies an opportunity to say, here's why we're different. Here's what we're doing. It's a very different environment. And hopefully some of that capital can shift over to companies that are trying to build a longer term and more ethical foundation, instead of, trying to get more and more people to trade and dump known things on retail. I think it's more about companies that educate, companies that build technology, other layers on top of Bitcoin, wallets that use those layers, innovative ways of using Bitcoin. All these on-ramps, educators, technology developers. I think that's where the long-term story is. And I think that the more these kind of casinos are marginalized, the more we'll see capital flow towards, I think, some of these more foundational things that need to be built and need to continue, being rolled out.
Corey?
Yeah, I just want to do a quick clarification that both Coinbase and Gemini have started overseas operations, but there's no indication that they're like moving the whole thing offshore. So Gemini is still operating out of New York as usual, but I think they were exploring Dubai and another jurisdiction for basically like a derivatives exchange. But again, the strategic move there, which Coinbase already took a couple of months ago as well, I think in the Bahamas or Bermuda, one of the two, starting a derivatives exchange over there. It's that, basically you now have infrastructure and you have employees and you have like a regulatory setup in a non-US jurisdiction, and you could move things offshore. So that's why it's like kind of a first step toward moving offshore, but neither of them have actually moved offshore. Just wanted to clarify that. And then, I'll hop back in with something else in a little bit.
So Corey, just to go back to you in a sec, because I've been getting this question a lot, right? Does it worry you that Bitcoin-only companies might get caught in the regulatory crossfire?
Not one bit. Yeah, it hasn't worried us at all. I mean, Bitcoin companies only need operating accounts really when it comes to our needs in the fiat system, and there are tens of thousands of banks that will take your account. So even though it's annoying that Citibank debanked us with absolutely no warning in October. We had other bank accounts because it's just smart to have other bank accounts, and we were able to get our money back because it's legally ours. And so they can do whatever they want, but they can't stop you essentially, because there's always somebody willing to take that business, unless there's actual U.S. government regulation that comes down, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to fight against that well in advance.
Gotcha. Steven?
Yeah, I loved what Preston said about the difference between like an actual casino and crypto, and why it's a great point, and I think Alan Farrington made it, and only the strong survive, that crypto if it was on the surface, if it was just straight up, like we've invented a new way to hyper gamble and you can have derivatives and aggressively trade against other people, but what you're trading is nothing. It's casino tokens. Like the veneer of innovation is essential to the grifted size. Like you're not getting all of the venture capital firms, you're not getting all of these companies in a scenario where, hey, we're a casino, we're just like people need to believe they're investing in technology for this whole thing to work, even if more sophisticated players know it's gambling.
And I would just say Corey has highlighted this point of why we saw this past cycle, why it was so bad that you saw all this gambling take off, and it was all enabled by the VCs. Lynn threw out this number earlier that 98% of VC money was going towards things that were not Bitcoin only. They were all the shitcoinery that was taking place. And so all this VC model of raising the next round, using tokens in order to drive the valuations of equities was just like pouring fuel on the fire of a casino model system that the world has never seen such a turnkey way to play these schemes that were played through this past cycle.